Welcome to Live at the Blue Box. We are now going to do Input Junkie. Jaclyn. Oh, wait, we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
You.
I am Chris Mao. I'm co-owner of Blue Box Cafe, and I co-host several shows here on Southgate Media. Several.
Yes. And I'm Rob Southgate, and with us is a very special guest, Jaclyn Lewis.
Hi, I am Jaclyn Lewis, and I'm a local author here in Elgin, Illinois. And I'm so excited to be here today. The Blue Box Cafe is one of my favorite places ever. Mostly because the food and coffee is excellent, but I also love Doctor Who. So
excellent. So it's kind of a trifecta thing for you. Yes.
It's a good mix.
Excellent. All right, Jaclyn, so you, all I know is what I've read. Which is limited.
Yes.
And, of course, I was reading about a different Jaclyn Lewis most of the day. So I want to ask you about your depressing books. No, I'm kidding. Yes. You've got your first book came out.
Yeah.
And it's self-published?
It is, yeah. It's indie publishing. I self-publish through Amazon. They have their own publishing platform called Create Space, and then also you can publish ebooks through Kindle. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really easy, and I feel like self-publishing has come a long way. So
you know, it's funny. I've actually looked at that Amazon self-publishing thing, and I didn't realize the quality. Those books are fantastic. I mean, really impressive.
Yeah,
nice product placement.
Yeah.
We're so bad.
I know, right? This is my book. Actually, I was amazed when I got the proof in. You know, I had designed the cover. I had worked laboriously with the layout and everything. And the day I got the proof in, I was amazed myself. I was like, this is a real book. In fact, I showed it to my husband, and I was like, it's a real book.
Did you think it was going to be like a roll of toilet paper or something? Like, well, no. This is disposable.
It was just amazing to see something I had written, just look like a real book.
Look like a real book.
Really
no, it's
high
really
quality,
nice,
so,
yeah.
Not only does it look like it feels like a real book, and it reads like a real book. So I think you're doing pretty good.
All the elements are there, Jaclyn. Way to go.
There's words on paper.
That's right.
That's good.
It's a book.
So I want to talk about this typo.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
What?
So, all right, this is your first self-published book. Is this the first book you've written?
It is the first book I've written.
Really?
And it's actually meant to be the first in a series. So, the whole idea behind it. Why
don't you give us a premise of the story?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Okay, so the story is about a girl named Genesis. She wakes up on a planet and her personal memories have been erased. So she remembers how to walk and talk and all of those kinds of things, but there are all these gaps in her memory. And so the book is really about her discovering her own past and her own beginnings. And it's really kind of a futuristic genetic engineering kind of book. So this one is primarily about Genesis and her friends and her family and discovering who she is and that kind of thing, and it's very character-driven. So, the purpose is to endear you to the characters and for you to read the book with your own emotions and things like that. So the following books will be from different point of views, though, and
then you read with someone else's emotions.
Right.
Okay,
so, the next one, book number 2. Is called The Flames of an Avalanche, and it is hopefully going to be out by Christmas.
Oh, wow.
I've kind of been working
coming
on
every 3 months? You're just going to keep pumping? You're like Stephen King.
Pop them out, yeah. Yeah, just like Stephen King. I feel just like that. But no, so with this, I think with any series, you kind of have an overarching idea of where you want to go with the book, and then you have to, do those story arcs in stages.
Sure.
So there is kind of an arc to that, and hopefully I'm getting there. So.
Well, it's interesting because we talk to authors here, and a couple weeks ago we had one in here. We had Charles in, and he had almost the opposite. He said when he starts the journey of a book, and he's got one that's a series right now, no idea. He said, I start writing, and I have no idea. And I've talked to other guys that are like, oh, no, everything is mapped out. You sound like you're kind of in the middle, like you're exploring it, but you know where it's going.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a both kind of thing. So I knew where I wanted the story to begin, and I knew where I wanted it to end, and I kind of knew the midpoint. But yeah, I think when you start writing, you don't always know exactly where it's going to go, and you surprise yourself sometimes. So.
Well, I was going to say that when you were writing this, were there points? I mean, obviously, first book you're going to be excited, you're going to kind of have it mapped out. Did you find yourself surprised at points and go, oh, I didn't think this is what was going to happen?
Yeah, actually. Oh, yeah. And I think when you go back and you revise it, there's actually a character that I cut out of the book completely and replaced with someone else. And, initially that was a surprise to me,
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Because it was a character that I kind of loved, but they didn't really contribute as much to the story, or, the story didn't tell itself the way I wanted it to.
You think that character will come back in the future?
Nah.
No?
He's dead.
Done.
I killed him before anyone even read the book.
Cut off his head, and that's it.
That's
you're
right.
Gone.
He's gone.
Good.
But come on, it's the future. It could come back as a cyborg,
He
or as just
could.
a head in a jar or something.
Right.
Kind of awesome. So, how many books do you think are going to be in this series?
So the plan is for there to be 3. I think any author wants to keep that kind of open-ended.
Sure.
That's what George R.R. Martin said, and look what happened now. So.
Right.
But he's like killing off all of his characters,
he does.
right? So yeah. That's right. That's true. You don't even know about him.
That's right.
I'm sorry. But yeah, so with this series, I'm intending 3 books. I'm actually working on another one that's unrelated, and that one probably won't be a series. But again, it's kind of an organic process, and I think you don't always know where it's going to go until you're done. So.
Well, no, I mean, and I know everyone approaches the writing process differently. Does it just... I mean, obviously you wrote this first series and you had a plan. This other book, was it just an idea that you said, hey, I want to write a novel about it, or?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I was going to try to get into short story writing. And so, as you read through Google, if you just look up how to become a famous author, or, those kinds of things.
Did you Google that? Is that how this
I
started?
might have.
Don't tell it. We've done how do you become a
Famous
well-known
podcaster?
famous podcaster,
Yeah,
yes.
no, it didn't work.
No, it didn't, yes.
Okay, so bad advice.
Right.
But one of the things was, try to get your name out there in magazines and sci-fi magazines, or,
Sure.
write short stories or whatever. So I sat
Absolutely.
down to write this short story to submit, and it turned into another novel. So apparently I'm terrible at short story
You're not
writing,
concise,
so.
is that what you're saying?
No,
That's okay.
I guess not. It just kept growing and growing, and I was like, this can't be a short story. This has to be a novel. So.
Well, as like Fight Club is a 60-page book
Yeah,
that they
right.
turned into a 3-hour movie, and we'll take a 300-page book and we'll do the reverse process.
Yeah, boil it down to 10
Well,
minutes.
sometimes it goes like you were saying, you didn't know which way your book was going to go, and that's awesome because you just don't know how it's going to evolve. And if you have an idea and, hey, this is good, let's roll with it, instead of cutting it off prematurely because you have those ideas. And I think that's good because, too many people think to a format, and there is no format.
Yeah.
Just go. I mean, I've read great books that are 72 pages. I read horrendous books that are 72, and I've seen, 14 book series that are great, and
Right.
then other ones that you can't get through. So I guess if the story is good, it doesn't matter what form it's in. So it's
Yeah,
good.
and I think that's the important thing is knowing, and you guys know this just from the TV series arena too. You have to know when to cut off a story and go a different direction,
Right.
and when to continue it. You don't want to just do it because you can. So.
Unless you're getting paid a lot of money, and I hate
Yeah,
to be like
then by all means, go ahead and try.
Then just keep going.
Let's
That's
keep
right.
going. Keep it going.
So did you go to school for writing?
No, I mean I went to school and I learned how to write. Does that?
No,
answer your
that's
question?
not what I mean. But
Hey,
No.
that's a new thing they should try in the U.S. is teaching people
They
how to
should-
write.
how to
they
write.
should try
Yes,
that, yeah.
exactly.
but not cursive. That's out. Okay. Anyway.
Now we
And the new
type
math
things.
kills me.
Yeah, the new
every time.
math. Yeah, that's the end of this interview. You're going to have to do some new math
Oh
for us.
no,
So that'll
no!
be fun.
I'm going to stop right now.
That's a test.
No, I didn't go to school for writing. Actually, I was kind of in the medical field initially after high school, and worked as an EMT in California, and thought I wanted to pursue medicine and that kind of stuff. And then I got married and moved to Alabama.
It's his fault.
Yeah, that's my husband
Yep.
there.
He's
the
to blame.
handsome one. That's right. But no, so then we moved to Alabama, and I worked in the medical field a little bit longer, and then I started a wedding planning business. I've been all across the board. But I've always enjoyed writing, and I think anyone who enjoys reading a lot, especially in one genre, if they have a story to tell, they're going to figure out a way to be a writer. So
Yeah.
so that's kind of what happened to me. I've always enjoyed writing, and actually, in high school, I was much more interested in music and writing song lyrics and things like that. So I always thought that if I had a writing career, it would be more musical,
Like a lyricist or something in music.
yeah. But that's not what happened, and it's wonderful. So.
Yeah, and
still-
now you have this real book.
Yeah,
Did
I
we
have
mention it's a real book?
That's right.
Pretty cool.
It is. It's really cool. That's neat. What was your inspiration for this book? Was there anything that caused it, or did you just have this idea, or what inspired you to do it?
Yeah, so it was kind of a convergence of things. I had kind of had the idea about the planets and that sort of thing previously, and then actually my husband and I were researching adoption and things like that, and I read a book that mentioned snowflake adoption, frozen embryos and things like that. And because I have a really crazy imaginative mind, one of my first thoughts was like, this would make a great science fiction story. And so that's kind of what started it, and was kind of interested in the whole, I don't know, realm of that kind of thinking.
So science fiction is where you went with this in your head immediately. Are you a sci-fi person? I mean, are you somebody who's like, yeah, man, I dig sci-fi? And what authors are you into?
Yeah, okay. So my sci-fi journey started with Star Wars, as I'm sure many people did. Yeah, show us your shirt,
Yeah,
Rob.
that's right. She right away was like, oh, I like your shirt.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't know what else to mention, so
Chris
I
has
just
the
read this
underoos
really
on.
fast.
You want to show them? No,
What?
we'll show them later. They're Princess Leia. They're really cool.
You have what?
They're too young.
Don't
They
tell
don't know what
anybody.
these
Yes,
jokes
Princess
are.
Leia, what?
Those were jokes for just Chris and I.
That's right. They're bards. It's okay.
Yeah,
Don't worry
yeah.
about it.
But
So
no.
it started with Star Wars.
So I like Star Wars.
Wait. Was it episode 1?
It was.
Was it episode
no, it was
4?
episode 4. So
Good
yeah,
job.
you can
Okay.
call me a legitimate.
Yeah,
Star
okay.
Wars
Well,
fan.
you pass.
So Star Wars, and I think my husband and I both would say that we prefer probably science fiction TV because it lasts so much longer. You can get into the story so much better
Sure.
than movies. And we kind of like that whole experience. So, most of our sci-fi interests have probably been TV shows and things like that.
Okay.
Books. A lot of the books that kind of inspired me to write this were more like dystopian novels. Some of you might have heard of The Hunger Games or
Oh, yes.
Divergent. Some of those.
So
kind
are
of
you going
things.
for a YA type thing with this?
Well, no.
Because those are
Well,
YA.
Yeah,
but
those are YA. And so what happened is I started reading all this dystopian fiction. Twilight, yes, I was one of those.
Oh, I can't stop. Sorry. No.
Chris has to leave.
Right. But one thing that really bothered me is that the characters are all really young. And the older I get, the more that bothers me because, there's just a generation gap there now. So,
Try being my age. Holy
right?
cow.
That must be terrible.
What'd you say?
I'm reading The
Sarah?
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez.
Yeah, he read it. He thought it was about going to McDonald's, but
Oh, goodness, yeah.
The Hunger Games starts at 4 o'clock because I'm getting old.
That's right. Where you guys just like pummel each other for food. I think he's got the upper hand, out in the restaurant. So, but anyway, one thing I wanted to do when I wrote the book was to kind of allow adults to have that same experience. So the main character is actually 25, and I felt like with her being a little bit older, the adult type decisions that she's going to make made a little bit more sense. So I would say that it probably attracts a YA crowd, but there's actually a new genre out there called new adult fiction that actually
Which
captures
actually, stuff like
this.
Hunger Games probably fits in a little bit better.
New adult, well, okay, so new adult is the old young adult.
Right.
So,
but
yeah.
it's more acceptable. Like for a 47-year-old guy like going into the young adult section is a little
Right.
weird, but there's a lot of good stuff in there.
if it says new, you can say, "Hey, I can
I
be
can go
here."
like, yeah,
That's
you know
right,
what?
that's right.
I'm stunted, so new is fine.
That's right, yeah.
That's right.
So it gives people like us kind of that
Us.
that excuse to read that stuff. So yeah, that's where it kind of fits in that new adult.
Well, no, that's true. Especially, and I don't know if, like, my parents went through this, and maybe your parents can attest to this.
They're not listening.
I want to say we're hanging on, but like, I grew up. Star Wars was my movie. I was 11.
Yeah.
It's big, and I still like it. And there's like little kids going, "Well, why do you like Star Wars?" I go, "Well, when I was your age, that was my thing, and I've just carried it over for 40 years."
Yeah.
And that kind of works. I mean, I can see why people would identify with Katniss or Harry Potter, that's been around forever. If you started it when you were 12 and now you're 25 or upper 20s, why can't you enjoy Harry Potter? It's part of your childhood. But even though those are definitely kids' books and you're getting into the Divergent, Twilight, which are more the teens, they're probably, 30 now? I mean, I don't know how old, I can't really, well, I'm just saying, no, but I'm just saying, I mean, I can't relate on I can't relate on the ages because I don't know. I don't,
Right. When that was
when was that was hot?
Yeah.
I mean, what are those people now, 25?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
I
not
think
young
that does
adult.
carry over because, I think that if you read something even in your late teens 10 years ago, but you still love it,
Right.
Is it really young adult anymore?
Yeah, right.
Well, it's a good story. It just, I mean, it had that young adult theme and could tie those people in, but I think we can all relate to that fight and that struggle that all of those characters have. And
Sure.
it just
They're base
applies
struggles.
Yeah, because it is about that common theme. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 35 or 40, I mean, you look at The Hobbit, that, Frodo is a kid. Frodo is a kid coming into adulthood, going on this grand adventure. Even though he's a Hobbit and 70 years old, it's just different.
He has
He
really
wasn't-
furry feet.
Frodo wasn't in The Hobbit. It was Bilbo.
I mean, but I'm talking about that Hobbit series.
Have your
the
geek card right now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know what I meant.
Good
Like, we're talking
escape.
about, I mean, but even Bilbo was young.
Yes.
He was a young man.
He was a young man in
Going
that.
out, he hadn't proved himself, and he was considered this slacker and just went on this adventure and was still considered a slacker, even though he saved the universe, which was okay.
So I want to go back to that question. Do you have specific authors? You mentioned a few series in kind of a vein that you like.
Yeah.
Are there authors that you're like, you know what? I love Suzanne Collins every time. Is there anybody like that?
Honestly, I would say that even though it's not in the sci-fi genre,
Doesn't have to be.
Okay, so my favorite book ever is probably A Tale of Two Cities
Sure.
by Charles Dickens. And
I think there are probably people in the room that would say the same thing.
Classic
so.
literature in general. I think it's amazing to read it, so much later, and to see that human nature has really not changed very much, and to see that people like Shakespeare and Dickens and authors like that were able to capture that at a time when things were different, but we see that things are really still the same. And so I like that kind of dynamic of being able to read older authors and kind of transmute their themes into, what's relative today. So.
Sure. Cool. TV shows.
My
so you said
favorite-
sci-fi. Uh-oh, here they come. The feels are coming out. Everybody look out.
My hands are up. Okay, my favorite TV show ever is Firefly. Have you heard of it?
Firefly.
Nice.
I was going to say Firefly, Buffy, or X-Files.
Firefly.
All
right.
I thought Next Generation. That's what I was
You
gonna
thought
think.
Next Generation.
But that's okay.
Firefly.
We're all in
huh?
there. That's
Firefly.
That's your show.
Yeah,
that's your jam.
my show. Yeah, so I'm not a real rewatcher
Okay.
of TV shows. I like to kind of move on. Once I know what's happened, I like to move on. I could rewatch Firefly all the time.
Anytime. Yeah.
Anytime. And
well,
there's
that's
only
good
one
because
season, so
12,
you really can.
12 shows in, you're done.
That's
So
right.
it's unfortunate. And a movie. So.
There's
That's
movie
right.
night every
don't
once in a
forget
while.
the movie.
How
so
dare you, Chris?
Firefly.
I'm just saying. I threw it in there.
Yeah. We really enjoyed Firefly. Stargate took us a long time to get through. Stargate Atlantis.
You did all of them.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
smoke.
Oh, we were committed, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to reboot it,
Really?
Yeah, they're going to reboot it, the movie, which means everything gets made into a TV show now, so give it 5 years and it'll be a TV show.
Okay. Well, it probably won't be as good, but I'll give it a try.
All right. And then just like Stargate Elgin. It gets a little watered down at some
Hey,
point.
what are you talking about?
right.
Not quite as interesting.
That's my new. That's a new
cafe?
deli cafe. Is Stargate Elgin. Yes.
Excellent. The door is going to be amazing going into that place.
They have like coasters and stuff. They have like Stargate. They have Stargate everything, but Stargate coasters. I really want a set.
So, what are you putting your Amazon list up here right now?
Yeah. So if anyone wants to know
wish
what
list.
to buy for me,
You can go to Amazon,
Yeah.
look up.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I have quite the collection of Firefly memorabilia at my house too,
Do
and I
you?
have a keychain of the Serenity.
Has she got a
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah.
No? Okay,
No.
you're good with it.
He shares in it. That's why he's not admitting.
That's
to
right.
it.
That's right.
Excellent. Now, did you find, this is the last question, I'm going to harp on this. Did you find parallels to your Firefly thing? When you look back at this story or you look back at elements of this, do you find parallels where you go, I was a little inspired here?
Yeah, actually, I would say one of the things that I liked about Firefly, and let me just say I love aliens, so nothing against those. But I liked Firefly
Those.
because it was a futuristic story, and there were no aliens involved. It was just human elements.
Yeah.
Well, some might say Jane is kind of alien. But
Jane, well, yeah, I don't know
Sorry.
what Jane was, but yeah, so that definitely was an inspiration for this book. I might include aliens in the future, I don't know, but I really wanted it to be about human emotion, human elements, things that we could really relate to. And so, and I felt that way in Firefly, you know, when you watch it, and you're like, oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't understand, but
Right.
but you know,
Doesn't
you can
exactly
really
relate to your world right now,
yeah,
but yeah,
but
I
I
get
think
that.
sometimes when you see those elements in another capacity that surprises you, you know, you're able to see it better. So I was kind of trying to do that in my books too.
You said there's another book. Not in this series.
Not in this series.
Something else.
Yeah, there is something else.
You want to talk about it?
And so, you know, I may wait on that just
Okay.
because there's a lot of work still to be
Look
done.
at that. She wants to get another interview is what she
That's
wants.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's-
I'll just have to come back.
I'll tell you
for
next
that.
time.
It is science fiction.
Hey, you two.
so that's right. Yeah. No, I'd be
Subscribe and see me next
I'll be
time.
there.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a standalone book, I think. And yeah, but it's kind of the same types of elements. It'll be science fiction, but really try to get you hooked based on just human relatability and things like that. So
Sensing a theme.
yeah.
Yes, that's
You look
good.
like you had a question.
No,
there,
I didn't.
Chris.
I had an interjection, which
It's
we don't
early
need to
on.
make. So
We want to
it's
hear
okay.
it.
What? No, we don't. It's okay. I think better after a few. So it's all right.
After a few coffees, yes.
Well, I've had like 3. So.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Pumpkin
So,
spice latte. That's
Yes. That's
so
my drink.
what's your tool when you're writing? Are you a sit at the computer? Are you a electronic? Are you a paper and pencil? What are you?
Yeah, so my penmanship is like a 5-year-old. So even the book signing was a little
And
I
now
don't
you've
know.
offended your daughter.
anxious.
Way to
yeah,
go.
No, she's a wonderful.
No, she
writer.
writes better. That's
Yeah.
what I said earlier. So.
That's right. That's right. That's how I know what to compare it to. No, I have a Mac and I do everything in Word.
Okay.
And with the platform that I use, actually CreateSpace has their own like template, and so I actually just download that first and write straight into that, so I can see how it's formatted.
Really?
Yeah. So.
No, I didn't know it did that. So
Yeah.
are you able to like pick the font you want?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Nice.
Yep.
So that's your tool is your Mac.
Yeah.
And that's how you write.
And coffee. I need a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
To be inspired.
That's why she spends a lot of time here at
That's
Blue Box.
right.
I
That's
have
okay.
that problem too. I understand.
This is my inspiration.
Yeah. So I know because I've written, not books, notes to Chris.
Words.
Hey,
Yeah,
Chris.
okay.
But I know that I have music that I listen to, certain music. Do you have anything that you're inspired by? Was there any particular music that you listen to for here? Like
Yeah.
what?
So I really like a band called Need to Breathe, and sometimes I will just like put the
I don't know them. What do they do?
Need to Breathe. They sing songs.
Hey, you know what? That was an answer. It might have been like their
She's the
trumpet
best guest
players.
ever.
What are you
She's
talking
giving
about?
you so much guff. It's awesome.
Yes.
No. So I would say I actually don't even know like what the genre is that they sing. Have you heard of Mumford and Sons?
Absolutely.
Okay, it sounds like that. It's the same
Okay.
kind of like I don't really know if it's rock or.
It's
Or,
kind of
like-
in the Americana vein, kind
Okay.
of, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's named
folk
after a
rock, or it's
coffee.
not-
Yeah, folk rock,
or Roxy
folk
folk.
Americana.
It's hard to.
Cool. Need to
Yeah.
breathe is that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Very good.
yeah, I really like them. I also like Zach Brown Band. I have kind of a playlist that I like to listen to, but I mean, that's not all I listen to when I write. Sometimes I just like peace and quiet, so that's nice too.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their different way. For me, it was,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, it's almost always jazz.
Ah, yeah.
And it can't be like big band. It has to be like the stuff that is really annoying to most people, like really like bordering on avant-garde, where it's
No.
like garbage cans getting hit almost. And
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
yeah, here we go.
It reflects in your writing too.
it
I just
does.
want to let you know.
You know,
So,
it's funny because the last thing I wrote, suddenly it turned into punk, but it had to be 70s New York punk, and it had to be loud while I was writing. And I was like, how are you even
Are you able to focus? right
doing
now?
this? I'm like, I don't know, but it's what I needed.
That's
So it's interesting because everybody has a different way. I've talked
Yeah.
to people that it's like classical music. It's got to be something in the background that separates
Yeah.
them. For you, it's this kind of folky
Whatever that American
rock. This
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is.
I also really like a band called Journey. I don't know if you've
Never heard of them, no.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of for the same reason. Like I know the songs enough.
Right,
that
you
they're
know
just
them
kind
enough
of
that it's just something in the
background.
background. It
Yeah.
puts a part of your brain somewhere else. I totally agree with
Yeah.
that.
Well, I could see that where you freeze up. It kind of occupies your mind to let the other part just roam.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
is smart. So to block it out. I
So-
don't understand that theory at all, but
No.
I need everything I have and then some. So.
And loud and on and coffee. All right, audience, we don't have a lot of time left, but audience, do you have questions? It's okay if you don't. Look at he got all panicked. I should point at him and take a microphone over.
no.
Come on, ask your question. No, it's okay if you don't. You guys don't have any questions. That's cool. That's cool. You never know. Sometimes it's like the whole room lights up and you're like, oh, geez, we're never getting out of here.
At least your friends aren't asking for placement in your books, which is good right now. Maybe they do, but can you put me in your next book?
I have actually had people ask me.
Have you? Is it him? We don't have, I pointed, but you know who I mean.
The whole book is for him.
No, he's the one character that died first, unfortunately. Unfortunately, so.
So-
His name was Husband. I don't know what happened.
You're funny.
You're funny. Somebody called you. I got guff and you got called funny. What happened here?
You haven't gotten booed yet, which is a good
Yeah,
start. So,
That is,
The night is young.
for those of you who don't know, Rob gets booed a lot.
A
So.
lot.
A lot.
So,
See,
look at the whole audience is turning on me. So
I should
Jaclyn-
not be associated with you, apparently.
No, you shouldn't. Jaclyn, I want you to give, because we only have a couple minutes, I
Yeah.
want you to give your information out there, where people can get the book. I want you to give your social media.
Yeah.
Lay it out there.
Okay.
And this is we'll put it in the show notes for those of you at home. You'll find this later on YouTube and on our podcast, live at the Blue Box, and it'll be in the show notes. So go.
Great. Okay, so you can purchase The Silent Rhymes of a Snowflake on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. It is available in paperback and Kindle. Social media, you can find me on Facebook. I love it when people like me on Facebook. And you can just look for The Silent Rhymes of a Snowflake and find me there. So
Very nice. And do you have? I missed it. Did you have Twitter?
I don't have Twitter. I don't know.
It's
I
okay.
don't tweet.
Nope.
Yeah.
So.
Are you applauding that there's no Twitter?
hey,
I can
hey,
only
take your flip
handle-
phone and go away now. I'm teasing these guys.
Hey, no, I can only handle like Facebook and Pinterest.
Okay.
Well, Pinterest
So,
isn't bad.
Yeah,
That's pretty,
yeah.
you got
so
two. So.
I'm on Pinterest too. You,
You
can
got
look
two.
up Jaclyn
I mean, there's
Lewis.
so many.
Do you have a
I mean,
MySpace page?
Yeah.
No, I'm teasing.
What?
MySpace.
You're so old.
Oh, sorry.
Chris and I are like, we better disarm ours right now. Embarrassing.
What?
No, but yeah. So
I bet
like
Journey
us
has
on
a
Facebook.
MySpace page. I'm just telling you.
They did. I know.
Yeah.
So.
I
So
used to have MySpace.
very good. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, and
Yeah.
good luck with this. Everybody
Thank
here,
you.
if you haven't bought it yet, buy it. If you have bought it, buy another copy. And
I'll be over here signing.
By
yes,
several,
and
absolutely.
she's signing right here. So thank you again.
Thank you.
You were
you.
wonderful, and
Awesome.
you are
Thank
you have a seat here whenever you want to come back and talk about your next project.
Thanks. I would love to do
You
that.
are certainly welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, that's it for this one. We are going to have another interview in just a second. Yeah, let's hear it for. And congratulations, the book is gorgeous.